In the last lesson, we looked at printing messages onto the screen, but more importantly, getting input from the user. So let's just go back quickly to the second program that we did. This is how we print information to the screen. This is a string. This joins the string. This is a variable, and the variable holds the value that we input from the keyboard when we printed the message on the screen. Please enter your name. So if they type Joe, name would become Joe. Then we would print hello and join it to Joe. So that's what we did in the last lesson, and we could write lots and lots of print statements, but really I want the program to be a little bit more interactive than that. So we're going to handle that in this lesson. We're going to make decisions based on what the user types in. So let's close all these down and start from scratch. Just to remind you, go to the start bar, the search, type idle, choose idle Python GUI. Remember, we get the shell, so we need to choose file, new file, because we're going to close the shell down for the time being. Then we're going to, this is our third program, so I'm going to save it as, remember, not in Python 27. I cannot stress that enough. Not in Python 27. So documents, and I had a folder called my Python files, and I'm going to write my third program .py if you wish to retain the colors. Okay, so let's go back and refresh ourselves to begin with by asking the user what their name is. So I need a variable name to hold the result of what they type in. Then I'm going to ask them to type at the keyboard raw input, and I'm going to give them a message, and that message is please enter your name, and a space at the end just to make it look nice. So there we go, I've got their name from the keyboard, and what I'm going to do is give them a welcome message to let them know it's been done. Print hello space join it to name. So that's pretty much where we were at the end of the last lesson. So if I save it and run it, you'll see that. Please enter your name, Fred. Hello, Fred. So what I want to do in this lesson is ask a question and get an answer, and make a decision based on that answer. Now, a question might be, do you like chocolate? So let's have a go at that. So first of all, I need a variable, because they're going to type in chocolate at the keyboard. So, or they're going to type their favorite chocolate, or whether they like chocolate at the keyboard. The important part is I need something from the keyboard. So I'm going to use raw input again. So chocolate. Even better. Let's type answer equals raw underscore input, and we're going to ask them a question. I think the question should be something like, do you like chocolate? Do you like chocolate? Remember to put a space on the end to make it nice. Now we're going to make a decision. We're going to say, well, if you like chocolate, so do I. And if they say no, they don't like chocolate, we're going to say something like, well, you're just weird. So let's manage that. So really what we're trying to say is, if they like chocolate, print a message. If they don't like chocolate, print a different message. And that if is the big word that we need. So I'm going to start off my sentence with if, or my programming statement, if answer. Now this is going to be just a little bit different to what we did here. Remember here we just used answer equaled raw input. I'm going to test, which is the official term for it, what they typed in, and to do that I need a double equal sign in, and it's like this: is equal Okay, so let's go back over that. If answer is equal, two equal signs. So if answer is equal to, now what are we testing? Do you like chocolate? How are they going to answer that one? They're going to answer it with either yes or no. So if I put in, if the answer is equal to yes, okay, then we need to print some sort of message out. Now we're getting into Python, now we're getting into programming. And this is true every time you use the if statement. We're going to have some sort of test. Answer is equal to yes, or day is equal to Wednesday, whatever you want, a test. But at the end of it, we need a colon, and something magical happens when we put the colon in and press enter. So when I press enter now, I want you to see what happens. Okay. It did not go back to the start of the line, and you shouldn't try to make your cursor go back to the start of the line. This is really, really important. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces there, and they're necessary. Okay, we need to do it. So this is what's going to happen if they answered yes and it was true. We're going to put print so you like chocolate. Okay, so we've got what happens when they answered yes. But what happens if they answered no? So I'm not going to write if answer is equal to no again, because we can either have one of two things. It's either true or it's false. So that's either true, they answered yes, or they didn't answer yes, which is false. I can use another special statement. So when I press enter, I get my cursor right on the line underneath the print with 4 spaces before, and this time, because I've got another part to my if statement, I'm actually going to make that start right at the beginning of the line and type the word else. And again, whenever I type the word else, which appears in orange, it's a key word in Python, I need to finish it with a colon. And if you remember from last time, when I finished with a colon and pressed enter, it indents 4 spaces. That is absolutely 100% important. We'll come back to that and we'll have a lot of practice with that shortly. So if they don't like chocolate, I'm going to give them a message, print, oh, you don't like chocolate. So I've got my 2 possible answers. If they answer yes, then they say, so you like chocolate, and if they answer no, it prints, oh, you don't like chocolate. So that's my program. A little bit difficult, 1 or 2 rules to remember there, but we'll cover those in due course. So I'm going to run my program and see what it does. Save it. Please enter your name. Let's start off with Fred again, and then hello Fred, do you like chocolate? I'm going to type yes and press enter. Okay, it's waiting until you press enter, and there it says, so you like chocolate. So if the answer was yes, print so you like chocolate, and then the program ends. And it ends because there are no more statements. So what happens is it runs that line, the first one, which asks for, let's just move this across, which asks for your name. Then you type in your name, and then it runs that line of code which prints your name out, the second line. Then it asks you, do you like chocolate? Runs the third line. So it asks you, do you like chocolate? You type yes. It says if the answer is equal to yes, so it runs the 4th line. And because you've typed in yes, it runs the 5th line, so you like chocolate, and then jumps over these 2 lines and lives here. And what we've got here is no more program, so the program ends. So let's look at what happens if we don't like chocolate. So let me run my program again. Please enter your name. Let's do the same thing. Fred. Do you like chocolate? No. Oh, you don't like chocolate. So that is different to what we got here. Do you like chocolate? Yes. So you like chocolate. Do you like chocolate? No. Oh, you don't like chocolate. So let's see what's happened with our program. It ran the first line to get your name. Then it printed hello name. Then it asks you the question, do you like chocolate? At this point you typed no. We are checking here if the answer is yes. Well, it isn't this time. It's no. So it didn't run that line at all. It came to this line and said, okay, the answer wasn't yes, so we will print this line. Oh, you don't like chocolate. And that is how we came to this result here. And then once it had finished that line, it came down to here where there are no more statements and your program ended. Now, there is a little bit of a problem here, so we will take a look at one or two things that are working and one or two things that are maybe going wrong. First of all, I only checked if the answer was yes. I didn't check if the answer was no. Even though I typed no as an answer, I could have typed anything at all. So let's try that one again and show you what I mean. So please enter your name, Fred. Whoops. Hello Fred, do you like chocolate? Chicken. Oh, you don't like chocolate. Now that worked because it was checking to see if you typed yes. Because you typed chicken, it came down to this statement and said, oh, you don't like chocolate. So really we could type in anything other than yes. The only thing that it will accept is the word yes to print this line out. So we can see that again. So let me run my program again. And this time I'm keeping the program in the shell so you can see the previous answers that we had. Please enter your name, Fred. Do you like chocolate? Yes. Oh, you don't like chocolate. Why? Well, we never actually typed the word yes. We only typed the letter Y. And it wasn't checking for the letter Y, so it came down to the else part and said, oh, you don't like chocolate. Let's run the program again. Please enter your name, Fred. Do you like chocolate? Yes. Notice what's different here. I've typed it all in capital letters. What do you think is going to happen? And were you right? Oh, you don't like chocolate. Yeah. Why? Because both answers are yes. So why did it print this line out? Well, actually, what's happening is that yes in capitals is different to yes all in lowercase. So we have to be really careful about how we phrase our questions and how we test for the answer. It might have been useful if we gave the user a hint on what to type in. So when we put, do you like chocolate? Maybe we could have put in yes or no to give them a hint as to what they need to type in on the screen. So let's close the shell because I want it brand new and run the program this time. Please enter your name, Fred. Hello Fred, do you like chocolate? Yes or no. So we're giving them a clue as to what they need to type in. So if I type yes this time, it says, so you like chocolate. So what we've done is we have taken the user's input from the keyboard. We've given them a message, please enter your name. They type their name that is stored in the variable name. Then we print it out, print hello, and join it to the value that's stored in the variable. And then we use another variable, as we did in the last program. We use a second variable, answer. And we set whatever the user types in response to the question, do you like chocolate, yes or no, we store that in the variable answer. Now we're going to test what is in that variable answer. We say if in the variable answer, if it is equal to yes, absolutely, lowercase y, lowercase e, lowercase s, then print this message out. So you like chocolate. If they didn't answer exactly lowercase y, lowercase e, lowercase s, it's going to come down to this statement, else, and print out, oh, you don't like chocolate. We can sort of see that working as well. Let's just run it a couple of times with a few different ways of writing yes. So if I run my program, so I'm Fred, do you like chocolate? Capital Y, E, S. Again, that is not the same as all lowercase. So what do you expect to happen? Oh, you don't like chocolate. So the only time it is going to say I like chocolate is if you type in exactly those 3 characters. Later on, when we learn how to program a bit more, you will change the way you do this, and you will test for different things or test for everything that somebody puts in, which is how we do it, and that's going to give us a bit more sturdiness to our program. It's not going to crash. It's going to do exactly what we want. Because obviously, if they like chocolate, yes. Oh, you don't like chocolate seems a bit of a nonsense message, but really that is your program that is not working properly. So it's not an error. Maybe it's a little bit of a logic error where you haven't specified exactly what you want. So let's see what mistakes can we make. Let me take this out and rewrite it. So I'm going to delete that. The first thing I'm going to do is not to put the colon on the end. So if the answer, whoops, make sure you spell that correctly, otherwise that will be a mistake, is equal to yes, then I'm just going to press enter now, print so you like chocolate. Just press enter and then else, press enter and put the print. Oh, you don't like chocolate. So what are the 2 mistakes that I've made? So we'll deal with them one at a time. The actual mistake that I've made is not putting a colon at the end of there, the 2 dots. And when I pressed enter, the print statement or where I was expected to type was right at the beginning of the line. In Python, that is a mistake. So if I save my work, it doesn't save OK. It tells me I've made a spelling mistake in my program. So if I take a look, it tries to say, oh, you've made a spelling mistake here. So let's put that colon back in. There we go. We've still got a mistake, because if I've got a colon, the next line needs to be 4 spaces indented 4 spaces, and it isn't. It's right at the start of the line. It's on column 0 on line 5, and it really should be on column 4, I think it is. So let me try to run the program again and see what happens this time. I'm going to save it. Oh, an unexpected indent. Okay, expected an indent block. When I click OK, it will highlight where it thinks it is. And it is right there, exactly where I told you you need to have 4 spaces. So let's go to the start. Do not press the tab key if you're used to tabbing all in one go. Use the space bar and put in 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice the print is also purple, not orange, and that is the correct one. So if it's inside something else, it will be purple. So that is now correct. So I've got a colon on the end, which is correct, and I have indented 4 spaces. So I am now on column 4 of line 5. That is correct. Anything else is incorrect. So if I press F5, made a spelling mistake again. We expected that. I did say that there were at least 2 errors. So if I click OK, let's see what it is. What is the error? Well, if we use an if statement, it must have a colon at the end. Also, if we use an else statement, it must also have a colon at the end. Okay, so for the this is if it's true, do this. If it's false, do this. But we've still got a mistake because there should be again an indent there. There should be 4 spaces. Look, this print here should be at the same level as that one. It isn't, so the error message will crop up. Click OK. There you go. An expected an indent block. It's highlighting where the error message is. We need to click at the start and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. So if I now run my program, I should expect it to work. There we go. Fred and noob. There you go. So that was one error that is really, really important. Every time you use if, it must have a colon at the end. Every time you use else, it must have a colon at the end. Now, every time you use if, there are 3 different types of orange statement that exist with if. So let me just show you on the screen. Let me go to the start of the line. If I use an if, and then I can have anything that I want with a colon at the end, that is a good statement, apart from the fact that I should have words in there. But the if has to have a colon at the end. There is a second one which we've used here. So this says if that is whatever true, do the line afterwards. This one is the one that we've used. So let's put the stars in for some sort of statement. Needs a colon at the end. There is a true statement there, and the next line after that is an else, and there are no stars, so there's no statement with the else. That's the second structure, and when we press enter we need to write the false statement here. There is a third one that we shall use a little bit later on, which looks like this. I'm just showing you the structure. I have an if with my star, so there's my statement. I need my colon, and then at the start of a line I can use an elif, which is a sort of combination of else and if. Okay, and that requires another statement, another test. So if the answer equals yes, do this. Elif, the answer equals no, do this. If we've typed anything else, then we do the else part, which does not have any sort of statement. It's a sort of default catch-all. So let's have a go with that one. So we've got 3 different types of if statement. If on its own, if and else, and the more common one, the one that we shall use more often than not, is this one, the if, elif and else. And I'm going to replace some of the lines in my code with that now. So let's get rid of those because that's meaningless in Python. So this one, instead of being else, I'm going to type elif. And remember, I needed a statement after it, a test. So elif answer, help if I spelled it correctly, is equal to no, then print, oh, you don't like chocolate. Remember, we have to have that third bit now. The else part always comes last, and it's a default. So if they typed in yes, it would print that. If they typed in no, it would print that. If they typed something silly, which wasn't yes or wasn't no, it would come down to this line, and we can print, I do not understand your answer. So that's why we use the 3 parts. We test for truth, for falseness or non-truth, and for ridiculous statements, basically. So let me save my program and run it, and you'll see what I mean. So here we go. Please enter your name, Fred. Do you like chocolate? Hamburger. Now, what do you expect to happen? Which line do you expect to work? Let's try it. I do not understand your answer. So let's run my program again. Oops. There we go. Please enter your name, Fred. Do you like chocolate? No. Which line do you expect to work? Oh, you don't like chocolate. Let's run my program again because there's 3 parts, so I am running it a 3rd time. Please enter your name, Fred. Do you like chocolate? Yes. Which line worked? So that is an if, an elif, and an else statement. Now that is a test. So we've extended what we know a little bit. There are 1 or 2 things that could still go wrong. One thing would be not having the double equal sign. So if I save my program, it's going to tell me I've made a spelling mistake. It's going to tell me where my spelling mistake is because if I've used an if or an elif, I need to have a double equal sign. Is equal to. Is equal to, rather than just equal. So it's down to you now. Let's see if you can ask some questions as you did before, and let's see if you can actually take the answer that they gave you and give them some options for the answers. So what happens if it's true, what happens if it's not true, and what happens if they typed a load of nonsense.